Long live the king.
Karmine Corp, yes, Karmine Corp managed to beat Fnatic 2-0 to qualify Madrid and knock Fnatic out. But how did that happen? Well, let's ask their coach.
On paper, people are kind of talking about, in terms of anti-strat, you don't have the edge. So how did you come in to prep for this? And is that from scrims as well? Because Bosa said that you guys scrim each other too.
So first of all, they played this kind of the same Lotus that they played before, and most of the, I don't want to say, there are a lot of like, let's say we just had a plan, and we wanted to see if it's working, we keep doing this. If not, like we just, I don't know, we'll improvise and do something else. But yeah, just. Our anti-strat kind of worked. I'm not gonna lie, really, it worked.
So the anti-strat worked on Lotus, but what was the anti-strat? Well, there was two main parts to it. On the defensive side, you've got this from Karmine Corp, where they are just playing no one on C. In fact, they've actually got a super deep turret here on C, and no one is playing there. And they're actually going to get aggressive over towards A and B instead. And the point here is that Fnatic, and we'll see this in some of their rounds as well, they don't like to really commit onto C. They will sometimes do it, but even when they do, you can often retake against them as well. And that's something that Karmine Corp would do as well, right? So you see they're just completely happy to play with no one on C. And we're going to see in multiple of these rounds, they played with literally no one on C whatsoever. And that meant that instead, they could do stuff like this, where they go pushing instead. And the weird thing about this round is, right, they push A, right? They push all the way out of A down here. Bosta sees these guys down here. And you would think the automatic response of any team after seeing a team do this is we're just going to run in here. Especially because I would think that Fnatic can hear this turret as well, right? So maybe Fnatic, I don't know, maybe they got confused and thought the turret was here, but if they did think the turret was here, that should also kind of tell you that C is probably pretty free, because why else is your turret so deep, right? And they've pushed out of A. So you expect Fnatic to come quickly towards C at this point, and actually what's going to happen in this round is Fnatic actually win this round, I think because they surprise Karmine Corp that they actually don't run C, because it looks like they're about to, but Boaster actually calls his team back to actually fight against these guys, and I think Karmine Corp are just completely taken by surprise that Fnatic still haven't gone into C.
Site is completely under their control, but maybe wanting an advantage back, they're going to fight everyone.
Yeah, this is just going to be a brawl, right? Leo's here, though. Everyone's ready. That was a fantastic bit of utility work, though, to stem the bleed, to slow down this KC crunch. You can see them starting to drift back a little bit here. Tomasi watching that cross. Does he catch a glimpse? Oh, it's more than a glimpse for Shin. Another body added to the count, but still. Boaster puts the bow on it, and it should be fine in the end, joined by Chronicle there.
The part one of the plan is to play pretty passive on C, but they would get there in different ways as well, right? Like in round number 3 here, so this is the anti-bonus, a round they really need to win. They actually start off with some aggression on C, right? With actually 3 players out there, but quickly enough when they see that not much is coming this way, they rotate and they just leave Shin completely on his own, deciding instead to hold tree with an Odin there and get some spam damage. You can see Durka is pretty low, so we just got Tomasi just spamming that with the Killjoy setup on A as well. But eventually what's going to happen in this round is Alfia is going to kill Shin. He's just going to take this 1v1 and Alfia is going to win this fight in just a second, just there. Now the thing is, you would think again that Karmine Corp would react to that and start flooding over to C, but they take a bit of a gamble in this round, again, in kind of maybe hoping that Fnatic won't go towards C. You'd see them here just sticking around and staying over towards A, not really moving a muscle and just waiting for Fnatic to come and do a B split or hit the A site instead. As we can see, Fnatic will go into the C site, but this is part number 2 of Karmine Corp's plan of letting Fnatic kind of take C if they want it, is that they don't think that Fnatic's post plan on C is very good, and Karmine Corp can exploit that.
Going to be cautious, obviously, considering they do have the walking wounded on their side, but
left.
Should be able to make that C site theirs pretty comfortably, but still going to go through the execution, taking no corner unchecked. And I want to see how far KC commit to this. I doubt they're going to push too far now. I doubt. Aren't going to come in. They'll need a quick kill if they do fancy trying to get anywhere near close. Looks like they're trying to at least pressure a little bit here, and it does look like a bit of a goer, yeah, but look at that one way. That's horrific. There's no getting past Boaster there. Have to bide the time or do that apparently. Narrate gonna hold on. KC finding 2 quick kills. That opens up a chance, but now dealing with the plant and dealing with the players are 2 different things. Chronicle's still alive, but the only one still alive is Fawn. KC run back that site. Well, I didn't think they...
So what's the problem with Fnatic's post plant? Well, Fnatic have started planting over towards this. Now, of course, this wasn't an option on the old C site, and they used to plant in kind of the open spot for Mound before, but now they've begun planting here. But in their post plant, you see how they're all kind of just tucked into this square. There's nothing on the deeper part of the site, and so what you're going to see is Karmine Corp are able to kind of exploit that and really focus all of their attention on this part of the map. And this is something that Karmine Corp would have seen before in the game versus Vitality that Fnatic played in their last game, because on Lotus here again, take a look at what happens in this pistol round post plant, where Fnatic again are going to plant the spike over in this area. And yeah, sure, Fnatic are somewhat worried about this flank coming in from Vitality because they had pressured the flank before, but actually they all go back. But again, Fnatic have ended up in a post plant, and look at where they all are. And again, the spike is not planted for them out here. So when Vitality all just come from this way instead, Fnatic are just in a really bad position.
See that it's all on site. That's where the presence is. A little shift up in where the orb is going. Viper orb instead on site, but it hasn't landed in a great spot. It's not actually covering the spike itself. Oh, nice shots from Durka. Nade up top as well. The bounce is good. It's going to force the player out into the open, but around comes Kicks, and he has saved the day. Alpha left in a 1v3, Ghost in hand, and almost no chance to deny that defuse.
And so then we add another wrinkle in from Karmine Corp as well, which is this kind of Killjoy setup, where we're going to get this deep turret over here and a deep alarm bot over towards C as well, because something that Fnatic like to do as well is if they do start towards A, you know, if they don't start with kind of their normal C default, they may never touch this part of the map, and very rarely will anyone, like Alfia playing alone here, lurk up on their own towards C. They won't really ever touch this unless multiple players are there. So you can exploit that by putting this deep Killjoy setup over here, knowing that, hey, either the team is there or no one's there. Pretty much is what's going on, allowing you to 4-stack over towards A and fight this out. One thing I also want to point out is this Viper wall they're doing, which is quite weird. Because again, this is Karmine Corp essentially saying, we know that if this doesn't get destroyed, like, you're going to come and fight this against us, and this wall is going to help us, because when your wall goes up, our wall goes up, and that means that when you come out here, you're now taking the decay as we're coming and fighting you.
Right, it's first step done. Can they continue this trajectory, though? Already getting confident enough to take the challenge over by Rubble. Boaster, he's only got a classic, but maybe going to get the chance to use it. Not what he wanted there, no. KC holding the line very diligently. That is lovely for them. A clean round is exactly what the Doctor would have ordered.
And again, this is something they might have seen from the Vitality game, because Vitality had a similar sort of plan. Like here in round number 6, you're going to see that the position that Vitality are able to get into after just checking, are they actually defaulting towards C with some jump peaks? They then just come and put this turret down here again, watching towards C, and look at where that means that they can end up on the map. And this is just, you know, not a great buy for Vitality and all. But take a look at the map now, right? All of Vitality, look at where they are. Right, this is kind of crazy to have everyone be in this kind of position. Makes it much harder for Fnatic. And again, if you know that Fnatic are in this area, Alfia is never lurking up here on his own, right? This is not something that he's ever going to do, and he's definitely not going to come up onto the C site on his own, so you can feel confident in doing this kind of thing. But one thing I was particularly impressed with the Karmine Corp is that they found different ways to end up in the same situation, right? Like this one, where they actually have a 4-stack over towards C, and they're going to get really aggressive here, but the end goal is the same, where we're just going to push Fnatic back, so that we can put this turret here again and then just big rotate over towards A.
Still have plenty to play with. I think just clearly wanting to deny that C control, but again, it's that same haunt. They're ready for it this time, though. That corner being cleared already for Boaster. And actually, they're just going to fall back. That's probably just off the amount of utility they've just seen sent their way.
Yeah, this... How quickly can KC mirror these steps almost? Trying to hit that rotate just right. Massey's got to be so careful to not get caught out here. If he can buy time, that would be ideal, but still.
So if we look at this, we've ended up in a very different way of getting there, but essentially we still have this exact same Killjoy setup over towards C. And take a look at the map. It's almost a mirror to the map that we just saw in that Vitality round again, where our Killjoy is coming over towards B, and then everyone else is over towards A. Now at this point, Karmine Corp actually have to retreat and give up the site to Fnatic just here. But they do have everyone already kind of in a good position when Fnatic kind of declare that they are committing to this A site. And this round is going to play out in a bit of a weird way, but again, you get Karmine Corp being aggressive and committing, and It probably doesn't exactly turn out how I envisage they were going to do it, but Magnum does something that's very smart here, and it ends up paying off in a pretty weird way. So the spike comes down here over towards A. As you can see, Leo plants the spike just there, and you can see Magnum's got his Killjoy locked down. The problem for Magnum is it looks like he's going to put it in a pretty default spot, which is this, right? But he's not going to put it there, and there's a good reason why he's not going to put it there, because he realizes that Fnatic have their own lockdown. And the problem is, if you go and put the lockdown in this corner, it's essentially useless when your opponent has a lockdown, because you know that they're just going to lock down as well. And the thing is, this one doesn't cover all of tree, so you don't actually force them out of tree. So instead, what does Magnum do? He decides to actually push it a bit further. You see, he thinks about it, and then he's like, no, I'm going to push this a bit further. Now, this doesn't quite work out exactly how he wants, but if you take a look at it, yes, it forces out the other lockdown, but this one actually does cover all of tree and would actually force them back out of here, right? Which is quite important, because that means that you then might be able to break the opponent's lockdown. The problem for Magnum is he maybe got a bit ahead of himself, because he didn't realize that Fnatic were actually deep on the site and Durka is going to get a free kill off it. But in all of the confusion of Fnatic thinking, wait a minute, we can destroy this lockdown, Shin's actually going to find some free kills off the back of it as they try to destroy the lockdown instead, and Shin is able to punish them for that. And then it goes all crazy as it's a random scramble with the Fnatic lockdown here. But again, Karmine Corp navigate their way through it.
Side of it, and counter lockdown, there it is. Durka, beautiful. That's what the position was there for, but he actually falls to Shin. By the time, they can't really deny this lockdown that's still ticking for Fnatic, but it looks like they're gonna try. Oh my god, wait, what? What is going on? They are so cocky and confident in this. That's 2 to tame. This forces Boaster. He has to get involved in this one. Can he get there in time? I don't think he can do much about this one, really. Yeah, absolutely not. Fantastic attempt there, but not to be. KC playing the clock to perform.
And so Fnatic continued to struggle in this attacking half, and it really took them until the very last round, round 12, to actually figure out to just come and take the C site, which was relatively free, but then don't play this super passive post plan out here and actually get a bit more aggressive and try and fight deeper onto the site with all the space that Karmine Corp were essentially giving up.
The Martine on the map start to move back towards that C site.
Magnum buying some time as well. 30 seconds now. Fnatic aren't being given the luxury of timing on this one. Oh, come on! Magnum, that's gorgeous. Just takes away the tip of the spear. Durka's been good, but not good enough to do much more, and now he can slip away. They've got the player advantage for the retake. Does Fnatic now try and fight deeper on this? That is the only option that they haven't explored, is try and get the plant, but look at the time again. 10 more seconds, they're looking for a fight towards CT. Magnum on the chopping block and he falls. It's Chronicle holding the line here. That's better. Fnatic backing themselves to take those deeper fights. But now we're down to Tomasi. Martine, Shin, not gonna happen that time for Martine. Put it in the hands of Shin and Tomasi, who are not finding the connections here. That's Fnatic finding a solution. It just took so long.
So that was Karmine Corp's plan for their defensive side, but what about their attacking side? Well, they did something very big, but very simple, which is just send your whole team towards A. I know that sounds crazy, but it really did work, and they did it, and they ended up in something like this around 8 out of 11 attacking rounds, right? So the first thing is, you send your whole team here, you're hoping to win this team fight. Actually, in this round, round number 15, the first time they kind of did it properly, they lose the fight, right? But here's the crucial thing. Here's what they know, is that even when Fnatic win this fight, and they do get the first kill, as you just saw from Durka just here, Fnatic then will do this. They will then retreat away, often 2 people back in towards door, and Chronicle here, or whoever it is, will often get very, very passive. And so take a look at what happens from this point on. That from here on out, Karmine Corp are not going to use any utility to take the site, because they know that Fnatic like to just run away. Okay? So that means that they have utility for this post plan, and they basically trusted themselves to have a good A post plan to win these rounds, because the A site, after losing this kind of control on A and retreating away, Fnatic will just give it you for free.
Quickly they dismantle that.
It's going to give at least a little bit of space to play with, but you know that at this point Fnatic are just going to be looking to try and play that retake, maybe do a little bit of extra damage. Look at Shin already down on just 26 HP. But there is no one to be found. And the fact is, KC want to try and find someone. Want to try and even the scoreline before they get into this after plant. And they're going to play it super aggressive.
Yeah, but this post plant's really uncomfy though. Look at how little space they have. They've kind of just traded positions, right? Okay, well, KC, we're going to opt for a little bit of CT and site itself. We're not going to hold much beyond that. Tomasi's got to be careful. find balance. Almost reminds you of that first half.
Again, he'll have the utility to delay them. That's the one major thing. It's going to be awkward, and the paranoia is missed.
Oh, but that's sharp from Tomasi with a follow-up as well. Alpha starting to warm up here as well, but time ticking. He's got to get a move on. Not going to happen. Boasting out. There's no access to this side. There's no really time to play with Narrate there.
And again, Karmine Corp will have seen this in the Vitality game, because in this game as well, take a look at what happens here when Vitality eventually decide to come back towards A and push Boaster back off this angle, right? So Boaster's just here, he's chilling towards A, not really doing much. Eventually Vitality, they're going to come back to A, and eventually they're going to dog out and push Boaster back off this angle. And again, he's going to go and retreat in towards Tree, and once he does that, look at the A site now, right? Again, what would happen if now Vitality just decided to go to A? They would have themselves a free site, right? And this is something that Karmine Corp were basically exploiting. But as Eng said in the interview, it kind of goes all the way back to last year as well, where you can even look at the game they played against Loud and see similar sort of things happening.
With what Fnatic are doing here. This is going to be a very tough map if Loud want the 2-0.
Well, let's get to it here. Our first pistol round of Lotus. Map number 2. Already fast beginning here for Loud. Smokes popped up in their faces, but they're going to be giving them easy access to the A side. Full clearance out towards Tree, and Fnatic playing off side there for the retake. Nade still being held for Aspas. He saved it. Not for a rainy day, probably when the flood tries to come through. Bit of a tap to bait it. 3 players in Tree might get awkward though. That's why the door's rotating. Need to reposition from this one.
Alpha versus Less happening over here by the breakable door.
Door broken. Less. Oh, spots it. And, well, taking a new angle. With Alfia falling, that could be more than a difference maker. Still revealed. Multiple players tucked into Tree. Nade. A lot of damage being done. A lot of players weak from Loud, and Less still might have to be that difference maker. Smoke in their faces! And it's all Fnatic just falling to pieces.
And again, that might have just been their pistol round strap. You see how easy it was for Loud to get onto the A site, and later on in the game, again, it's not much different, right? Where, again, if Fnatic are choosing to kind of let you, take A, and they're not going to be super aggressive here, again, you're going to see that as soon as, the first kind of sign of pressure comes in, look at Leo's reaction. He's instantly by the rope. He's instantly trying to get out, right? And just like the first sign of, oh, they might be coming towards A, instantly I'm getting out, instantly I'm in heaven, making sure that I don't die on the site. And this is something that you can abuse. Now, this isn't to say that Fnatic never played anyone on A and that they always are super passive there, because they did kind of figure it out, as we can see somewhat in this round number 19, where we get a fight from Karmine Corp and Fnatic going back and forth early on. But then again, straight away, after that kind of initial fight, look, Fnatic's reaction is the same, right? Just a quick smoke and then running away and getting really passive over here, right? It's the exact same. But Boaster, you can almost see him here, like the cogs are turning in his head, because he realizes, I need to get over there, right? Even though Leo's in probably a quicker, earlier position to do it, look, he just gets himself on the A site because he's kind of realized what's going on. And Fnatic will manage to win this round because in general, they're just more aggressive at really trying to actually hold this space this time, and they can win the round off the back of that.
Gets to a point where that showstopper could work out.
Oh, that's a bit of magic from the man there, but that's a rifle. Now we've got 2, Martin and Narrate. Martin's gone down, that's good from Leo there. You take it when you get it.
Phantom wallbang.
I know, it's just obscene, isn't it? No spike yet. Trying to go for that rifle. They're just, they're true. Oh, man, this guy's clean. Okay. Still no spike here. Keep it on. Ooh, Alpha, you're lucky. You're a lucky boy. They've got the spike and they're running. Okay. He's given them a little bit of safety at B, right? He's warded off Alpha. They don't quite know where Leo is to an extent.
30 seconds
and they've
left.
got to know where Boaster was. So they've put together a picture, but where do they go with this? They've got to get proactive, right? They've got to find one of these 3 players, otherwise they're screwed.
Well, the question is, does Fnatic throw in a lockdown as well? Because they have the util to force them off the site, but it would be such a costly round for them.
Oh my god. That's Shin. Oh! That's belting from Shin. This young gun, that's a lot to do, and 2 very unfavorable angles to work with. Not gonna happen against young man Alpha.
But even so, it was a bit too late and a bit too far gone for when Karmine Corp could then just get some big ult rounds and essentially just stick to the plan. But when you're playing against a Razor and a Killjoy ult, you can't stay on A, right? You have to leave the site. You can't decide to anchor it. So again, even though these two kind of do stay there this time, when they start hearing those ults, they have to retreat.
Pretty good. Martin going to take the early space again. This is that traditional back and forth, right? We're going to see this so often. Now, we do have the lockdown for Alpha. Chronicle's got his, so some big ults still sitting in the pockets of Fnatic as well. Round changes.
They can gamble a bit more though, because Dirk has got that operator over on the C side, so he can just play a passive angle, hold for the opener, and then that means that they can have 2, 3, maybe even more over on this A side. Uh-oh.
Stalled out here.
I think got stuck on the door.
Yeah, not ideal. They do have the site control. Not perfect, but it's job done to an extent. It still got them what they needed, and there's the follow-up ult as well. So this is ult to get on site, ult to secure plant. Can they then bolster around it? I'm seeing if Martin feels that timing. Does he feel the timing on this one? We're going to see the lockdown coming into boot. This is everything. The kitchen sink. Alpha has slipped down towards the side to pop one. Oh my god, he got caught. Shin's going to find Alpha. Magnum going to catch Chronicle, and now there's problems. Boaster can't get away with this. He's been caught.
Oh, the turret's going to get him!
Oh, okay. Tomasi gave him a way out, if anything. A mercy killing at this point. Durka and Leo, what are you going to do here? What can you do about this one? There's nothing to be done. That snowball round is deadly for a reason, and Leo going to have to do the unthinkable. It's not going to happen, KC.
So Karmine Corp's plan might have seemed quite simple, but it really was pretty genius to play against Fnatic as they come out on top and manage to make it to Masters Madrid as the king is dead.